What about the manufacturers and the teams out there? I mean, Frank Williams, love him or hate him, I mean, you have to respect the man. One of the great team owners of all time.
Yeah.
I mean, if ever a team boss inspires confidence in drivers, in fans, in armchair spectators, it's Frank Williams. He's got it sewn up, if you like. He's the number one man out there. What do you think of the rivals to Williams? I mean, the likes of McLaren,
well,
Ferrari,
they got it down, don't they? I mean,
yeah.
I can remember we could have been sitting here talking about McLaren. Look how well they're doing, and they did. There's no two ways about it. And Ferrari, particularly in my era, I mean, Ferraris were always winning. And the problem, obviously, you've got when you win, same with Mercedes, is when you're at the top, there's only one way you can go, and that's down. You can't go on further up. You're at the top already. So that is the way, and that is unfortunately the way people often want to see you go. And one of the reasons I think Mercedes got out, apart from the crash at Le Mans, which was so disastrous, was because they felt, well, look, we've got there, and there's no more to go, as in fact Renault has now said. But I feel sorry, for the men at Renault, really, because being at the leading edge of motorsport and then suddenly having to, as I said to Adrian Newey, are you worried about the Renault engine, finishing at the end of next year? I presume you're not until the end then. He said, oh no, we're worried now. I said, why? He said, because they're continually developing their engine. The engine of the beginning of the year is not as good, obviously, as the end of the year. And he said, the problem we've got is that are they going to be able to keep this going? Because the guys who are there at the leading edge are obviously going to be pinched by other manufacturers. Otherwise, they're going to design the new camshaft of the new Clio, which is not very exciting after you've done a Formula One thing turning at 16,000 RPM, is it?
I think you also think it's remarkable that when you've got manufacturers, be they mainstream manufacturers like Ford or dream car manufacturers like Ferrari, they're in the F1 business to a degree to demonstrate to the world how great their cars are. And if we look at Ford, for example, a terrible demise in Formula One. Only a year or two ago, Michael Schumacher was winning the World Formula One Championship in a Benetton Ford. These days, Ford engine cars are at the back of the grid.
Yeah, but I think Ford, the corporate Ford, I don't think they're in there at the moment. In other words, they're doing a Ford, yes, but I can't help feeling that when they're in there properly with Jackie, that you're going to see the resurgence of the Ford power. Because I was in Detroit not too long ago, and they are working with the Indianapolis people, which is quite different. But they're learning a lot of stuff, not on the engine so much as maybe on the chassis and the aerodynamics and all this stuff. Obviously, is available with Jackie, and I'm sure that they've got technicians equal with anybody else's, and they probably now own some of the Renault guys as well. And I think you'll find that they have to be successful. Not next year, no, probably the year after.
Somebody we should have mentioned in a Formula One context, and we didn't, is Eddie Irvine from Dublin. Seems to me, potentially, the man that is going to inherit the crown from Damon Hill as Britain's top racing driver. First it was Nigel, then it was Damon. Who better than Eddie Irvine to take on that position?
It's a pretty staggering thought, actually, but I think you could be right. I mean, he's good. He's a breath of fresh air, I think, in motor racing, isn't he? I mean, he says what he wants to say and so on. I don't necessarily agree with what he says, but he is also a fairly competent driver. And I think that what I like about him is I think he does respect and understand that how good his team leader is, and I think it's a very, very good thing.
He's also unfazed by Schumacher as well. I know that when I caught up with Eddie down at Suzuka about a year ago, I said, how are you feeling about joining Michael at Ferrari and being Michael's number two? And he said, I'm going to sort out Michael, he doesn't bother me. I'm going to get him over to Dublin for a few days and give him a few pints of Guinness. And I think, that's the sort of, healthy, sort of jovial atmosphere we need in Formula
But I
One.
think that comes from respect. I think if once you can accept that a guy is better than you, say, all right, well, I mean, like I certainly accepted Fangio was better. I mean, well, I still want to beat him. But I think he's done that, and I think it's very good. One other thing I'd like to say about Michael, actually, is at the end of a race, it's so nice to see the guy get up there and he's won. He's thrilled. He really is keen. You don't see that all the time.